Any representations from the judges?
You seem to suggest that Copenhagen is some kind of US conspiracy. Why did Manmohan Singh and why did the Chinese premier go there to waste their time there?
What I'm basically trying to say is Copenhagen is about the biggest in international diplomacy that it can get. 196 leaders flew down there to make a decision after 4 days or 5 days of the summit. Nothing could be achieved. And then 4 of these leaders, the basic countries, were sitting in a room and trying to form something like the Copenhagen Accord, where President Obama walks in and says, "Can I join you for the conversation?" Now, the point I'm trying to say is, it's in the papers today, it's in the headlines today, that Obama was hugely surprising when he just walked into the room where 4 of these premier people were discussing their strategy and said that I would like to join you. The point I'm saying today is that US as a strategy, US as a principle, says a lot before that. You know, there are a whole lot of expectations from the Obama government coming just after the Bush government that they'll be able to do what Bush did not. They'll be able to create a very good image of America. However, at the same time, we have to realize that back home in the States, in the Congress, in the Senate where they sit, the situation hasn't dramatically changed. You still need the support of your people down there. So if you come up here and make a completely radical statement, it's not going to go down well with your people, with your nationalistic sentiments back there. Therefore, what Obama technically did, what he was trying to do, was convince these developing countries that, okay, we're not asking for anything, you lower down your proposals, we'll settle for something moderately, let's not go in for legally binding, because it's a problem to me, it's going to be a problem to you, let's just settle for something meager, less than the lot, and let's all be happy. That is diplomacy.
So emerging countries did go there to derail Copenhagen.
So the emerging countries, according to me, they were pretty much sidelined from more of the conversation. They just sat there, a lot of the countries just sat there, dozed off in the early hours of Saturday morning. And basically 4 of these countries were trying to establish something like an accord, because you have to come out of an international summit of this stature with something. You have got to show something. So basically it failed initially because there were no consensus in the views in the developed countries. After which some kind of a treaty, the accord, was formed just to satisfy the general public. Nothing more.
And besides, how do you unearth conspiracies till you don't do counter surveillance? So they went for that.
Now invite Team D participant Shikhar to speak for the topic.
And that is that emerging economies have derailed the Copenhagen summit. But here is the deviation in my argument. It is that the word derail, given that the Indian Railways has such an excellent track record, is associated with a normative value, ladies and gentlemen. For the time being, let's dissociate the normative value of derail, and let's say that emerging economies pushed aside the Copenhagen summit, which was going straight on for something right. Here is my problem with that argument, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not problematize the acts of emerging economies. Let's problematize the Copenhagen summit itself. What was the Copenhagen summit, ladies and gentlemen? In my opinion, Copenhagen was never about climate change. It was simply a theatre of real politics, ladies and gentlemen. It was simply the theatre of international politics. 2 people, personified as the emerging and developed economies, were playing with a time bomb, and the rest of us as spectators were wondering in whose hands it exploded. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, it was really the emerging economies in whose hands it exploded, but I think there are good reasons for the emerging economies to have done what they have done. So I am not going to be bashing the West, but really telling you why what happened and the way it happened, from what I know. The fact of the matter is there are 2 basic facts of the case here. The first is relative inaction on the question of climate change since the United Nations Framework on Convention on Climate Change took place in 1992. This shows that political intention regarding climate change is as good as zero. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore climate change is the facade behind which the grand theatre of international politics is really operating. Ladies and gentlemen, what is behind that facade of climate change? It is an overriding national self-interest that are playing. overriding national self-interest of whether it's China, America or anyone else. How do we get to know that, ladies and gentlemen? Overriding national self-interests of all these countries are intractably opposed. And therefore, when they are intractably opposed, it is bound for there to be a failure between the two. And as the Economist quoted on 5th December, rich and poor countries have to give ground to get a deal at Copenhagen. Neither of them did that. And unfortunately, the blame lies with the emerging economies. Why, ladies and gentlemen? The first is, in whose strategic interest was it to not have a climate change deal? Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the developed world, their voting populations want a deal. There is a democratic mobilization for climate change and agreements on that. It is really in the Indian Parliament that you saw hectic lobbying for the government to protect the right for India to develop and so on and so forth. So really the effects of climate change pinch the developing countries more than they pinch the other countries. And it is really for the developing countries therefore to stall the entire process because of their developmental and political interest. And secondly, ladies and gentlemen, you are all aware of the economic changes that are taking place in the world and the rise of the basic power, the assertive China, the India and the Brazil who think they can use climate change as a bargaining counter for a Security Council seat. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is this summit has shown one thing, and that is that if Brazil, India, China and South Africa come together, they can stall anything happening at the global center stage. They cannot be taken lightly, and they need to be taken into confidence when any international decision is taken. And that is how we must see the actions of these countries. Thank you. I have taken 3 minutes 34 seconds.
Reputations?
Hi. You mentioned very abruptly how the Copenhagen summit was heading for something straight when you yourself justified that it was a political maneuvering. A. B. You said that the effects of climate change would pinch only the developing countries much more than even the developed countries. Looking at the level of industrialization and mechanization that is pending in the developing countries, do you feel this argument is justified?